I'm back. What kind of exciting movie do we have today?
What's in the suitcase?
Oh boy, the excitement. This is Pale Blood from 1990. I'm assured there will be eventually vampires, but before we can get to the vampire and luggage-filled excitement, our main character, Michael Fury, is receiving a phone call from a detective agency.
Thank you. This is Michael Fury.
Mr. Fury, I have a message from Lori who says she's from the detective agency.
Yes?
She's unable to meet you, but asked that you join her at Metropolis, a store on Melrose Avenue. Do you know where that is?
Is it on Melrose? Because I feel like it's on Melrose. Anyways, we get immediate backstory.
Very likely the vampire killer's victim, number 3. We've arrived here before the police to bring you this exclusive.
You must be Michael Fury.
This is the third in an apparent series of
I'm Lori from the agency, the one you've been corresponding with. I'm really sorry, I couldn't meet you at the airport. I got a hot tip from a friend of mine and came right down here. Looks like another one.
Found behind a dumpster at the hospital where she worked.
You are Michael Fury, aren't you? The one who's been paying me to investigate these so-called vampire murders?
3 weeks ago, a second
That's right.
If his appearance wasn't obvious enough that Michael Fury is a vampire, we basically see him teleport.
Now pull back real slow, yes, real slow.
Looking for something?
Jesus Christ, man, you scared the shit out of me.
And then literally see him teleport.
Yet how completely he dominates the darkness. He can become shadow itself and flow through windows like water through cloth.
Michael Fury and the detective woman are both having bloody visions, and she eventually just straight out says, okay, dude, it's totally a vampire.
You work from a theory that fits the facts. Now, the facts are, we've got a killer running around who drains his victim of blood. Now, what are the possibilities? Who drinks blood?
Nobody said the killer drinks the blood.
Puncture wounds?
Just kinkiness.
No. Rule 2 is you don't alter the facts to fit the theory. The facts say vampire.
Before things get off the rails too much, we do insert a love interest into this movie. Well, he stares at a woman across the room as the movie's theme song plays, and seizure-inducing cuts are inserted into the film. We also know he's not the killer because he bites her in the boob and not in the neck. And because I know you were dying with anticipation, we also find out what was in that luggage earlier. Oh, sorry about that. I got bored and changed the channel. It's a travel casket. The dude has a fold-up travel casket. Eventually, we're reintroduced to the photographer that we just barely saw earlier in the movie. It turns out he makes art films of the love interest and her roommate.
Do you think maybe it's really a vampire?
Vampires. Right.
Well, you know, Van's great-great-grandmother was a vampire hunter.
Get out. There's no such thing.
Jenny, babe, try not to comment on things you know absolutely nothing about, all right? Take your index finger, not on the foot, on the egg. Very good. Right there. Now just hold it. That's good.
Getting on.
Oh, that's good. Don't wipe it off. Don't wipe it off. Don't wipe it. Oh, no. Back off. Back off. Hold it right there. Hold that. Hold that. Hold your leg. Hold your leg up. God, yes. Absolute master. The curves, textures, shadows,
He also turns out to be the bad guy and was faking vampire attacks to draw out a real vampire.
Look what I got for you. You know what this is? This is the upper jaw of a Mexican vampire bat, huh? Fitting, isn't it?
Please, man.
Now, don't you worry. Don't you worry. This isn't gonna hurt you one little bit.
Michael Fieri bites on the bait and is trapped in a room by the bad guy with the private detective woman. In the hopes that he will go full vampire and bite her, the bad guy can get it on tape and prove that vampires exist.
God, look at her. She acts like she has no will of her own.
Overall, sure, there's some slow points in the movie. It takes him a full minute to put away a suitcase, and then 3 full minutes to open the suitcase uninterrupted. But the stuff in between does move pretty quickly. It has a solid plot of what it's trying to do. Wingshauser plays the bad guy that he's really weird. He has these art films that he calls them, but they're actually porn, we kind of think, because when editing it, he does see bite marks on the love interest nipple, but we don't see that part being recorded. We don't know exactly what his films are. But once he finds out he's on the right track and there is a vampire nearby, he ups his plan. And yeah, it's not a bad plan to be famous by proving vampires exist. This movie's kind of disappeared, though. I follow at least 2 people that only review vampire films, and I've never seen this one mentioned. I don't know how it slipped under the radar or been ignored. Maybe there's something about it I don't know. But despite the few slow parts that they do try occasionally to intercut with excitement, it's not a bad movie and doesn't deserve to be ignored at the levels that it seems to have been. As for the cast and crew, it was directed by the guy that directed that kids movie with the Kung Fu Rabbits, Warrior of Virtue. Does anyone else remember Warriors of Virtue? Because it was totally a thing.
The battle against the ultimate evil. The answer lies with you. Is about to begin. Come out and play!
The main guy's George Chakiris. He has a really interesting look. He didn't do much though. I don't know why. The love interest is Deanna Frank. She's a French actress who's done a lot of French television, but never really made it here in the US. And the other actresses and actors didn't do anything. The band leader is played by a documentary filmmaker named Michael Palm, and everybody else in this movie is just credited as people of the night, including Sybil Danning, who I'm pretty sure was not actually in this movie. But IMDb says she is. They're not always right. Thank you for watching, and as always, I shall try to do better next time. So, what happened in that other movie I flipped over to for a second?